Have you ever been launched from your home via steel projectile and found yourself a god amongst men with only one weakness? And that weakness is, you don't know who the greatest superhero of all time is.
Well, we are going to prevent you from ever finding that weakness by figuring out who the greatest superhero is of all time.
We are back in the final episode of the round of 16.
So much so your voice dropped on the word final.
And we're back with Jimsicle and Ellie, and we are excited. The first round...
Well, excited.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. But the first round, we are talking Green Lantern versus Barbara Gordon. And what I'm going to do...
I think we need to clear the air on this
Barbara Gordon got through against Iron Man.
What is wrong with the people out there? What is wrong with you? How could you possibly vote
Order in the court! Order in the court!
You know what's going to be really funny? If by the time this episode airs, the voting's completely changed.
It will be completely different because Barbara Gordon is the most interesting and dynamic character.
Give me some. Boom! Fuck yeah!
Actually, guys, go into the other room and sit there and wank each other out. I love Barbara Gordon. Oh, me too. I love her.
Oh, God.
It's a family show!
Birds of Prey! Birds of Prey!
Oh, God.
Whoa!
Ain't nothing wrong with Birds of Prey.
Listen,
all I'm saying is,
doesn't matter. The people voted and the people decided that Barbara Gordon got through. And she's facing Green Lantern. Jimsicle, tell us why Barbara Gordon is a bahamf.
Now, by the way,
for those who don't know, badass motherfucker.
now,
right.
I will tell you why Barbara Gordon is a bahamf. Now,
a badass motherfucker.
Now, as much as I love Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, which is he's awesome.
Yes, he is the Green Lantern we're talking about.
Yes, I realise. Yes.
Yes.
Just stop there. That's fine. We can do it just there. That's perfect. Just you love Green Lantern. I'm good with that.
Editing.
If anyone watched the Talk Comics LSEC video,
Son of a...
Ellie is known for twisting my words.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure if any of you have read Birds of Prey. I understand you've not read a great deal of it.
No.
I've read bits.
Yeah, bits, yeah.
I've read plenty of Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl. Well,
Birds
I
of
mean,
Prey.
the thing with... Okay, now, I love Barbara Gordon. The most I've read of Barbara Gordon is when she was in her Oracle persona. So, obviously, she's in the wheelchair and what have you. But a lot of people kind of misinterpret the fact that, she's just the best in her wheelchair. And I think, no, that's nonsense. The fact is, I've read some pre-crisis stories of Batgirl where Barbara Gordon was Batgirl, and they seem just kind of substandard. But the thing is, when
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. This had substandard comics, but yes, get her through because her comics were shit.
Oh, in fairness, Hal Jordan's had a lot
Hal
of shit.
Jordan's had some shockers, so let's not go down that road, shall we?
has Barbara Gordon fucking killed the Green Lantern Corps from her chair?
I will sit quietly until my opinion is thrusted upon you all.
I hadn't finished.
I'm sorry, sir.
No. So yeah, I mean, but I've read most and sort of really grew to enjoy the character as Oracle. Now, the good thing about her is she's the core information broker to the heroes of the DC universe. Like every hero in the DC universe was dependent on her. Now, Ellie once made the crack that she's just a glorified secretary.
I would say receptionist, but whatever.
However,
and it is a however with a capital H.
but you could also turn around and just say that someone like Superman is just a glorified circus strongman.
Sound? Rather be a strong man.
Probably the reason why he didn't get through then, isn't it? I mean, like, if that's the case. And the same reason why
Batman's just a glorified
I seriously want to highlight what James Cull is saying in that the key information broker, but also there was a point in comic books in the sort of in the 90s where they realized that this third-person narration is getting a bit tiresome.
Yeah.
Right? So then what we get in this Bat universe is we get the most brilliant innovation that happened by accident, whereby the narration that we have in our captions is this exchange between information broker and person receiving the information. We have these conversations, we have these dialogues that exist within the comic book page that I can't think of another example where that, or you think of like Jarvis maybe, sort of the Iron Man thing, but really, like that kind of thing, that mixed up the comic book, that changed the comic book for the better, having this release of information, what am I going to do, where am I going to be, and having someone kind of detailing those plot points. And I think that is a really important point, that's in a lot of ways changed the way the comic unfolded in a really physical and literal way.
In my opinion, sorry, I honestly feel that Barbara Gordon is a glorified plot pusher. All right. The bottom
you
line
think she's Mrs. Exposition?
Look, the bottom line is that Batman is the greatest detective of all time. The guy is so organized that if you take his data files and you pass them out to everybody else, it screws up the entire DC world. Right? The fact that you're suggesting that Barbara Gordon should be commended for sitting at a computer screen,
she can't stand at it, can she?
I'm going to continue my point as I have made it.
Sorry.
To commend this character for sitting at a computer screen. Mm-hmm. You might as well commend most of the British public for sitting behind a computer screen and tell me how wonderful superheroes and genius characters they all are as well. With all due respect to all. Well, two of you, really. I'm hoping that Dale's on my side here.
We'll see what Dale's got to say on the matter
we'll
in a
see
moment.
what Dale's got to say, but with all due respect, the fact that this character, and I do like Batgirl, okay, went through against Iron Man by itself, completely undermines, in my opinion, everything that Iron Man was. And if you put her through against Green Lantern, I think it will completely undermine everything that Green Lantern has achieved as well. This character, and I'm going to speak about Green Lantern now, has rewritten DC story, full stop, across all areas, whether it belongs to Superman, whether it belongs to The Flash, it doesn't matter. He rewrote the whole lot. Jeff Johns became famous because of the Green Lantern. Without the Green Lantern, there is no Jeff Johns. Without Jeff Johns, there is no terrible movie that came out.
I liked the Green Lantern movie, actually.
Boo on you! Leave! How did that go? Green Lantern wins!
Holy shit!
Although Mark Strong did make a fucking Pimps and Esther. I think we can all agree on that. So like I won't lie, I have not read very much Batgirl or Birds of Prey or any of that. In fact, the most prolific thing that I've ever seen Barbara Gordon do is get shot in the spine.
But you've read Batman comics for years and she is there in all of them. She is the voice of them. She is in the captions.
I have read the New 52 Batman where she's not there and the comic runs exactly the fucking same. I agree with you.
It doesn't.
We are stuck back. And do you know what? I lent my copies of Scott Snyder's Batman Run, which I love, to my housemate who is not a comic book reader at all. But I'll give her comics that I think, no, this transcends, right? And she read it and she said, I like it. What I don't like is the third person narration. I don't like these captions. And because they don't translate very well to the everyday reader, they're a bit on the nose. And that is what Barbara Gordon, that's what she took us from.
So she's an excuse to get around exposition.
Yes.
By delivering exposition.
That's not a great
Name
comic. We're
another
talking
character
here
that does
about
that.
the greatest
I don't
comic book
wanna hear
character of all time, and you're talking about a character that they've developed to get around exposition being great for that.
They didn't develop it, it happened by accident.
Irrelevant whether it happened by accident or on
The
purpose.
fact is, she is,
that.
we're missing the point. She's much more than basically Mrs. Exposition. What we are doing, the thing here is that, look, okay, there were times where even Batman himself admitted he'd been relying on Oracle a lot, more than he should have. Like he just relied on Oracle too much.
Yeah, and I think it undermined the Batman character. That was my original point.
The fact that Barbara Gordon undermines Batman, fucking awesome.
No, I don't agree. Although I will say, if you've read the JMS team up about the girls took her out. I don't know if you read this. The girls will take her out
I did read that.
the day before. They know they know that she's about to get disabled, right? Yeah. So what they do is they take her out for the greatest night of her life. It was one of the greatest JMS comics
It's one of the best single issues I've ever read. Full stop.
She's about to get disabled. she about to get disabled. We should probably take her out, have a proper...
No, I agree. That is one of the best
Love
single
it.
issues
I want to read that.
Remind me to get
brilliant.
suspicious if any of you guys suddenly decide to treat me to a night out. Yeah, let's go for a few minutes. Oh, Christ.
Now, when we say about to get disabled by the Joker,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how do you know that?
I know.
They saw a piece of the future and they knew what was about to happen and they weren't able to change it because they saw that it was part of the greater good, survival of Batman, survival of the other characters.
They saw she was about to come a fucking bam.
Yeah.
See, and the fact is that, okay, the fact is she, without getting crippled, the fact that, Batman would be useless, all that, like you just mentioned.
And I think that's wrong. I personally think that's wrong. You're talking about the greatest detective of all time, okay?
And he's
got
got
to
to
have
have
Sherlock
flaws. He's
motherfucking
got to have
Holmes.
flaws, right? Without Oracle, without Batgirl, he's Superman. He's this kind of figure of perfection, like we were talking about before when we were talking about Dr. Manhattan. Like, he's always got a plan. He's always got something in his back pocket. He checks his kryptonite along with his phone. No, Oracle made sure that actually
He always had a plan.
No,
And he always had
no,
a plan.
no,
in
no,
his
no.
Where do you think he got the fucking plans from?
No,
Oh, for God's sake.
that he could fall sometimes, right? And there was someone who had his back when he did, and Barbara Gordon was that person. Okay, where are you at with
I
this?
don't think we've talked enough about
Green Lantern, I agree.
I
We'll
think
get
that's a big part, and I think that's something we need to jump on now. Because I think a big thing is, and I'm going to say with Green Lantern, but it is something I would have applied to Iron Man, is that these are two characters who I would very much put up against Batman and think they would have a fantastic fight. And I think Iron Man may possibly have beaten Batman, and I think that, Green Lantern's got a very good chance against Batman. I think, by definition of what Barbara Gordon is, I don't think she stands a chance against Batman in this competition because without Batman, there is this... And, I don't want to undermine the character of Batgirl, but there is this... You don't get this amazing character, which you guys have said Batgirl is, without Batman, but without Oracle, you still get motherfucking Batman. Like, that doesn't change. You still get... And yes, he may go occasionally...
without Superman, you don't get anyone, and he's out.
Well,
I think that's really harsh because there's plenty of you'd still get superheroes even if you remove Superman. If you're talking about if Superman was never created, if you're talking about if Superman was never created, and you're saying, well, the superhero industry would be dead.
I'm not saying that.
That's
I'm
the
saying,
reason for why Superman should have got through.
No, no.
Not an argument for why.
No.
Batgirl should have
No.
get
I
through.
was saying that argument is redundant because if you go to, without this there isn't this, then there's an infinite regression of back to fucking
We'll be
point
here all
dot
day doing
that
that,
we're
yeah.
here all day.
No,
That is
I
a good
agree
argument
with
for
that.
why a character should get through. Is not
I
that
actually agree with you.
he made
I
her
agree
or
with
he
you.
made her or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I agree with
You've
you.
got to judge the character on a character basis. That was my point.
Yeah, I agree with
But
you.
also, we're missing the point here of the fact that everyone's saying, it's about Green Lantern versus Batgirl. It's not actually Batgirl. It's actually Barbara Gordon. Let's not forget she's
Barbara
had
Gordon, yes.
two different identities. I mean, when I heard that she was going to be able to walk again and become Batgirl, I thought it was actually a massive step back because there was a huge difference in her characterization. From when she was Oracle, she was like this incredible, smart, amazing person. But then, when she got used to her legs back and everything, she's dumb as hell. I remember the opening monologue for issue 1 was the fact that she was kicking someone's ass in her Batgirl gear and going on about how she actually needed to... she actually needed to go for a piss. I'm not joking. That was actually in the first issue.
Oh, get some man.
Can I? I'm going to put an argument for Hal. You feel free to.
Survivor's
No,
Guild.
I was going to
talk
defend
about.
against what you're saying, but I think we're good that we have some more Green Lantern to talk about. So you go.
I want to put an argument for Hal. Okay, I've already put the Jeff Johns argument across, so I'm going to steer away from that. But I am going to put the point that Hal Jordan was the first Green Lantern to become prominent within the DC world. There's been other Green Lanterns. We've had the original and the whole Wood thing, and I wasn't a big fan of that. Okay, so but you said it's Hal Jordan that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I
Alan
agree.
Scott's, irrelevant.
So if we're talking about Hal, then Hal was the first person to literally redistribute how power is seen in the universe, right? And not only that, he was actually someone who, in effect, conquered the entire world at one point when he went a little bit crazy, and then they had to find a way to control him. And so his character had become so strong, so prominent within the DC universe that in fact, and it's not the first time, the whole universe was centered around what is happening with Hal Jordan. I don't feel that has ever happened with Oracle. I
No,
don't think that's
that's
ever
true.
happened with Barbara Gordon. And I
true.
think that that is a really, when we're talking about this argument, we're talking about the characterization and what that's achieved. And I think that you cannot argue that that has achieved so much more than what Barbara Gordon has done.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
I-
yeah, but you're talking, but you are talking about power there. You're talking about power and force as opposed to character.
Not
right?
just power and force. I'm talking about the effects that he had and the interplay between every other character just because of him. He affected Superman, he affected the Flash. Like nobody, Wonder Woman, nobody could do anything else. Their characters all ceased to be just for that second. They only developed based on what was going on with Hal Jordan. That never happened with Barbara Gordon. No one went, oh my God, what's happening with Barbara Gordon? We better look at her. We better see how our characters are now developing.
Because there was a serious shortage of yellow paint within the DC universe.
Can I just say, in defence of Green Lantern, and I'm quite happy to be proven wrong here, but you know, with the major characters, you know,
Jim's opening a beer again. There you go.
awesome. You know, with Batman, you've got the world's greatest detective. He takes on street crime and all this. With Wonder Woman, she's the Amazon princess.
Amazonian
She's you know, but she still takes on crime at a mythical level and injustice and things like that. Superman, you've got this character who can leap tall buildings in a single bound and take on, you know, he took on political crime for a while. Hal Jordan, to my knowledge, is the first major character to ever actually touch the stars,
Cosmic.
to ever go cosmic,
Totally.
to ever take the idea of a comic book and go, this doesn't have to be grounded in crime fighters, in a earthbound way. He can touch the stars, he can go to different planets, we can expand his universe. And then to have him a prominent part of the Justice League.
Yeah.
So not only does he, you know, he can go to any world he wants, he always comes back home. He always comes back and fights the good fight on Earth because he's needed, and yet he's happy to protect the rest of the universe. And I think that says loads about his character, especially when you look at things like when he did go parallax and he did start to destroy the world, and you know, from Green Lantern Rebirth and how that really affected him as a character and what that's done for him since. I think I don't want to keep saying things like Barbara Gordon is overhyped receptionist, because I do kid about that slightly, because you know I honestly took on board what you said about her when it was up against Iron Man. I've taken into consideration what the opinions are here. All I'm saying is I feel as though in an attempt to just be like, no, you've got, like, she is this, you've really got to, this is what this character is. I feel as though we're undermining the absolute impact that characters like Green Lantern have had on the, not only the DC universe, but on the cosmic universe for all comic books.
Well, look, I'll say this, right? What me and Jimsicle haven't been doing is hyping up Barbara Gordon just because we feel like you two don't see her value. That's what we haven't been doing, right? The things that we've been saying have been genuine, guttural
Not arguing with that.
loves
Not
for this
against
character.
either. I appreciate
Having
that.
said that, in a strange turn of events, I think you've convinced me.
Can I like a final
let me
plea?
just finish.
Of
Like,
course, of course.
I think the way you phrased it was actually kind of, it was very eloquent. It was very precise and on the point, and no, and genuinely, you've talked me around. I think that, you know, the way you expressed it was maybe a little romantic, but at the same time also completely true. Like, Green Lantern was the first character to touch the stars, as you put it, and I think that not for that reason alone, but for that reason among many, and the fact that he has this core, he exists as a protector of a sector as opposed to a protector of a city, and again, like I said with Daredevil, the aesthetic of him. Also, I would like to add something.
Yeah, sure.
The way
You go for it, buddy.
the way that Green Lantern's power exists, the way that it manifests itself,
cool. Yeah.
could not exist in any other medium except for comics.
Yeah.
And as we've shown, Jimsicle might fucking
In a Green Lantern movie.
he might not agree with us, but as we've shown, it cannot exist within any other medium. So for me, I think you've convinced me, and I am on the side of Green Lantern.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well, look, I mean, it seems I'm obviously outnumbered here, but I mean, I have a personal attachment to Barbara Gordon. Everything I've read her in is like Birds of Prey specifically. The fact that, you know, like I said before, she is the kind of backbone of the heroes of the DC universe, and the fact that you know, every time I read her, everything is just. She really runs a team with such amazing camaraderie that some might disagree with this, but the Green Lantern Corps just does not have. Well, no, because the thing is, no, the Green Lantern Corps, but there's a reason for that. The Green Lantern Corps are like an army regiment, whereas like the Birds of Prey are a Black Ops team, but the fact is they're all like close friends.
And it's emotional.
And that is what I think is so important. This is why I've always read DC. Why I don't read a great deal of Marvel is the fact that there's like 7 or 8 different Avengers teams that none of them get along with each other. Even within the teams, they're all just at each other's throats. And then you've got with Marvel everything like, you know, Civil War, Secret Invasion. Everyone's just, all the heroes biting each other's heads off. What I've always liked in DC is that in particular Birds of Prey is the fact that the sense of camaraderie really, I think, elevates the likability of a hero. That's always the thing. Green Lantern, no, Hal Jordan's this awesome person without fear, everything like that, and he's a great asset to the JLA. However, he doesn't represent a great team dynamic.
I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
What I would say to that is, and I disagree, because I've read a fair bit of the Green Lantern Corps, and I love the dynamic of that, and I love that it's one of probably the very few teams that does have this army mentality to it, like no other team.
It's
in
an
the Marvel
immense
universe.
amount of camaraderie. I cannot
But
disagree
I
with
think
that.
there is. But
any more possibly than I possibly could right
What
now.
I would say
Not
to
like
that
Birds
is
of Prey.
going back to my previous point is that he's then able to jump back over into the JLA and be part of a completely different type of team, and not only be a part of it, but be the standout, which he also is in Green Lantern Corps. While yes, the Corps are kind of built around Hal Jordan, which, while universally not, we can all admit the comic book wise they built for him. You know, he's not the only guy in that group. You get some amazing members, you know, Kilowog and John Stewart and all of them.
Carl Rayner. But the bottom line is how can you say that they're not all friends? You know, Green Lantern. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the Green Lantern Corps. Sorry, I'm actually specifically talking about Wonder Woman, Superman, Flash, Batman, and Hal Jordan. They are all buddies. There's no way you can do that. They're the exactly. How could you possibly not say that?
But
there's
he was
camaraderie
talking
there?
about the Green Lantern Corps.
When did I ever say that?
You said he wasn't in that character, and there is a crap load of camaraderie, not just in the Corps, but in every other area that Green Lantern is involved in.
Wait, firstly, I did not say that the JLA, including Hal Jordan, were not friends. Secondly, the amount of camaraderie in the likes of Green Lantern Corps. I'm not saying there wasn't any camaraderie. It's just nothing.
No, I think he makes a very valid point. It's a military regiment. They are subject. I mean, I don't know if any of you are Battlestar Galactica fans, but like, but they, you know, they are. The Guardians of Oa are the Admiral Udama, and the Green Lantern Corps are your generals and your
Let's not forget. Sorry, just quickly.
No, Devin.
Let's not forget. In like any kind of military setting, right? The sort of camaraderie you get is kind of like sort of kick each other in the nuts, go, we're mates, kind of thing. Well, you know, that's the kind of mentality.
But even if you disagree, even if you make that point, you're still kind of not addressing the fact that in the JLA they do. So fine, so address it. But I'm still saying the fact is within the JLA he does have that camaraderie. I honestly believe.
What I want to go back to, sorry, just to dive in, is that whilst, you know, in the Green Lantern Corps you've got all these amazing characters, especially the likes of John Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Carl Rayner, who are all members of the Green Lantern Corps, and they all protect, you know, the sector and all that. But out of all of them, Hal Jordan is the only one, I would say, who still dabbles in the in-between. He's the only one who's like, I'm a member of the Corps, but first and foremost, I'm a member of the human race, and I have to protect the human race. While they all see the greater calling with the Green Lantern Corps, which Hal Jordan does, he's able to go, Well, yeah, but priorities. I have to prioritize Earth, and I have to prioritize.
I'm on
my
Green Lantern's
people.
side here, but you could argue that Barbara Gordon has all of those
Look,
as well.
this is.
But not on a cosmic level.
Not on a closet level, no.
You hit a bone with me with what you said, and then Jimsicle came right after you and hit another bone,
I'll
and
have
now.
you know, my mother is very nice, thank you.
In which case, my apologies, sir.
And now I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm in no man's land at the moment because I think what you've just said, makes so much sense to me. Like, it is a military, and even the JLA to some extent has a kind of Batman Superman hierarchy where they are there, and then you get this kind of the downpour of that.
Yeah.
Whereas Birds of Prey these are
Don't like
emotional
that.
decisions that are happening. These are decisions where should we do that and will that sacrifice our friendship and that comes first and I don't know what to do.
I literally
don't
feel
know.
like, to use an analogy, I literally feel this is some sort of professional wrestling match. I had him beat, but then someone distracted the ref, and Jimsicle came in and low blowed. And I'm on the ground, just like, no.
Okay, look, right. What we need to do is put an end to this. Right?
Okay.
You are 100% Batgirl.
I'm afraid so. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, particularly Hal Jordan. I love Green Lantern, and I do agree with many of the points. But look, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go with personal bias here.
Hey, we all have them. We all have them.
Yeah, it's going to have to be Barbara Gordon.
Ellie, you're, I assume, 100% Green Lantern.
I'm 100% Green Lantern. I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest.
Dale.
It ain't changing me. I'm Green Lantern.
Oh my God. Oh my
Sorry,
God.
Dan.
Can
I say the deciding-
I'm
the deciding
I'm
mechanic
really
break.
desperate to make one more point about how I don't really know if it's going to sway you.
needs it, so-
I don't
Yeah,
know if
you know
it's
what to
going
do
to
it,
sway
so-
you
I
one way.
swear to God, I am on the fence. Like I've never been this torn since we started this competition.
Okay, I think the one last point I want to play with Hal Jordan, my one last card, my trump card, if you like, boys, is the fact that Hal
Big talk.
represents will. Okay, he represents willpower. He represents the will of the human race in his own body, and with that, he represents what humans can do, what the achievements they can make, and the constructs they can achieve. And I personally believe that in no way, possibly, could you argue that Barbara Gordon represents anything like that, and that anybody, for that matter, in not just the DC universe, but the Marvel universe as well, and any other comic I have ever read, full stop, represents what the human race would like to go from and where the human race would like to go to, and not only that, the insecurities that fear bring in to what can cause negativity and what can cause the downfall of what is the human race at points and times in history. And I think that is so critical.
I have a great point with this.
Well,
Mike.
Look. I mean,
We could
I
go
think,
forever, couldn't
yeah,
we?
we could go
could.
forever. Here's what I want to say.
Okay.
What I really hope we have done with this, and in many ways, I think what was probably yours and to some extent my intention was to show that Barbara Gordon isn't a character to be looked over. Obviously, you two feel that Green Lantern is a strong character, but me and Jimsicle both have a very personal bond with this character, and I think a lot of people out there do too.
And I think it's a great character, and I'm sure Dale thinks Barbara Gordon is an incredible
As
character.
much as we joke
As
about
much
the
as we
glorified
joke about it being a
receptionist.
secretary, but seriously, we have a lot of respect. And to be honest with you, you guys, I had respect before, but both of you have given me a newfound
And,
respect.
that's what I hope. Having said that,
That's what we're here for.
having said that,
A decision needs to be made.
A decision
a
does
decision does need to be made. And honestly, I am not bullshitting when I say this. This is the hardest decision I have had to make since we started this.
Does
Competition.
not surprise me at all.
It surprised me actually.
Well, no,
Because
by the time
going
we
into
got to
this, I
that,
thought
we were ready for.
Barbara Gordon was going to shore it, right? I am going to go with.
No. Can it be? Can it? Is this going to happen?
I'm going to go with Green Lantern.
Oh my God!
Both of you have made very, very, very convincing arguments, and part of me, inside my heart wanted to go with Barbara Gordon and let the viewers decide, because I thought that this episode, I want to see whether we've gotten across how much we love Barbara Gordon and how important she is to the DC universe. But really, my brain was just like, no, these two genuinely have convinced me. They've genuinely convinced me. They've genuinely put across fantastic points that show not only a love for Green Lantern, but a love for comic books in general. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate this discussion, and Green Lantern goes through.
Green Lantern!
Green Lantern.
Okay, so we said at the beginning of this episode, should I call it an episode or should I call it a saga? Like, I don't know.
An event.
We said at the beginning that this was our last episode because this has gone on so long, and because some passions have ran high. I don't know what that noise was. I just made a noise. I don't know what it was.
I agree with it though.
This isn't going to be our last episode. There's going to be one more episode after this. Having said that, don't forget to look at You Have Issues and Talk Comics. They're two great UK comic book shows
Thank you,
that
sir.
you should be checking out. All the information is in the description below.
Yes, it is, and we also have something on Friday. I don't know what the fuck it is.
If I recall, Dale, it's something about your hair.
Oh no, that's Welbin.
Yeah.
That was weeks
shit.
ago.
Just keep drinking. Just keep drinking.
But what you did tell me it was going to be amazing.
Amazing.
We did. So
Amazing.
tune in for it, and we will see you.
I liked the Green Lantern movie, actually.
Whoa!